Yo, welcome to the first video in a brand new series where I'm going to be analyzing subscriber matches. So if you are 1200 and below, right around my level, and you have a very interesting game you want me to take a look at, go ahead and link it in the comment section below. I'll take a look, and if I have some time, I'll create a video analyzing it. So today we got our first one ever. We got Chris Nat CA versus Mansour, 1685. It was a wild, chaotic game, tons of back and forth. It's a 30-minute game, and it ended with 1 second remaining. Ended in checkmate. Very exciting stuff. Let's dig right in. It's a lot to talk about. So Chris said he wanted to play the London, but the opponent threw a wrench in that real quick, and Chris ignored it completely. So he just pushed up e4, which is fine. That's perfectly a good move. I do like to take myself, but this is the Englund Gambit. If you take this, you're entering the Englund Gambit, and you better know how to play against it because it can get dicey. I'm going to give you a high-level overview of what the Englund Gambit is. I'm not going to go down every line, but I will show how quickly your position can get wrecked if you don't know what you're doing. So he will develop to attack the pawn, and you have to protect. Well, you don't have to protect, but you should probably protect it. You are ahead right now. And then he will attack it twice, and you will defend it twice. From here, he will do something that looks very, very scary, and it is scary if you don't know what you're doing. But he will attack your undefended bishop here while giving you check and attacking your weak b2 pawn. Your b2 pawn is weak because you moved your bishop out to protect your pawn. So there's a lot going on here, and this can be easily screwed up. So I'll just show you how to incorrectly defend this position. Let's say, okay, well, I'll just put my queen up there. That's a bad move because he's going to hit your b2 pawn, and then he's looking at your rook that's stuck. So let's say, okay, well, I kind of want to defend my rook and not lose it, so why don't I just play my queen up? And that defends the rook, and if he takes my queen, I'll take back with my knight. Well, our opponent still has the dark squared bishop, and now you are forked to your own king, and that's basically the end of the game. You have to take, and then he's going to take with his knight, and then he has a nasty fork, and your rook's hanging. Just a ton of stuff to ruin your day with. The correct move here, I'll just go with the correct move, is to bring the bishop back, and he will take on b2, but as you can see, you are pretty far ahead still. So this is you're still in a very strong position as long as you know how to continue here, but you're up 2. And so you can move your knight here. That's the correct move. The line continues from here, but if you're interested in the Englund Gambit, definitely go check it out. Okay, now let's get back to the game. So as I said, Chris just played e4 forward, and there was a take, and then we kind of transpose into a backwards Scandinavian. It's almost like a Scandinavian for white, where we're just taking with the queen and then scooting the queen to the side. I personally don't play anything like the Scandinavian, just because I tend to just forget about this queen, honestly, and it ends up getting trapped somehow, and then I go cry in a corner somewhere. The opponent just gets extremely aggressive, and he's likely going to try to bring his bishop out and get a quick mate on you. And what you should be thinking about here is, how can I develop my piece with tempo? And that a good move would be knight to f3, where you're developing and attacking the queen, so he's going to have to move his queen. Anytime you can develop with tempo, it's a positive. So Chris here played knight to c3, which is also acceptable, but we got a pin now. So the opponent pins, and you got to be careful here because you got to look at this pawn, which is weak and undefended, hanging pawn here. So you actually need to unpin yourself here because you're pinned to the king. You need to unpin, or else he's going to take. And so the move here is a mistake because then he can just take the pawn. Then the long castle, I like that a lot. And actually with that long castle, you're actually attacking this queen now. So the queen has to move. So develop with tempo, I like that move. And actually now the opponent gets off the diagonal where he's protecting c7, which makes this move up to b5 look even more attractive for the knight because you want to put pressure on this fork here. Additionally, you have to see that the bishop is attacking this knight. And if he does take, you're going to have to take back with the pawn, and that will ruin your pawn structure that's protecting your king. But yes, you did put pressure here. I like doing this type of thing as well, because putting pressure can cause your opponent to make a mistake. But yes, it did weaken your pawn structure. You're still up by 2, and so you're not in bad shape here. Your position's fine, even though that pawn structure got disrupted. Now this move's really interesting because it looks like he's attacking your bishop, but he's actually not attacking your bishop. Let's say you just make some developing move. A good developing move would actually be rook to e1, where you can see that the queen and the king are on the same file, which can be very, very dangerous. So you can do something like a discovered attack, and this queen is pinned. So going back over to this side, the reason why he's not actually attacking the bishop is because his rook is undefended. So if he were to take your bishop, you actually could pop up and take his rook. But let's go to actually what happened. Yes, so you moved away and you put pressure on the queen, and then he moved out of the way. Now I think you do see this discovered attack here that you can do. So if he were not to move that, yeah, a great move would obviously be over here, and then he's in check, and you get another tempo to take his queen. I'm pretty sure you saw that one. The opponent did the right thing and blocked the king. And I see what you're doing here. You're getting a battering ram ready, getting some power there. He goes to attack your queen. And I really like the response here. Just pushing the queen up. And actually, if you look at what's going on, you have some insane pressure on the king here. So if this bishop wasn't here, you're actually threatening checkmate. And we actually want him to take here. And I'll show you why. This is actually really hard to see, but basically the move with your bishop out here threatens that checkmate. And really the only way he can save his life is blocking this rook, which he has to move here, and then you get to take the queen. And then he'll take back. So that is why that was a massive blunder on his side. Very tough to see that in game though. Let's see how long you took though. Well, yeah, okay, 14 seconds or so, 22 down to 6. So, or that's 16 seconds, something like that. I would say you could have thought about that one a little longer. You know, I think you had it in your head that you were going to trade. Definitely worth thinking through that move before you make it. You got a 30-minute game. This is a lot of pressure you're putting up here, so definitely worth looking at a little longer. And then he castles and relieves that pressure. And yes, you had a hanging pawn there on c7 that you could have taken. You spent some time there, about 35 seconds or so. But yeah, kind of tough to see that. I mean, I get it for sure, but definitely worth scanning the position to look for undefended pieces. And then, yeah, so the following moves are just a little, you know, you're improving your position and basically everything staying the same in terms of the bar. Now, I like this move a lot. You're putting two attackers on a single defender, so you could win a piece there if he messes that up. He does see it. And this move, the bishop take, wow, I was not seeing that. I definitely was not seeing that. But the engine loves it. I mean, you barely lose any advantage by taking this. Just opening up the face of the king, making it very dangerous for him to move forward in the game. He does give you a check. Probably good to be aware of this hanging pawn. He will take that, but then you can put your own check in here. And yes, he does escape. And then this move does, you know, it does blunder that pawn. And I see what you're doing here, though. You're putting pressure. You're threatening a nasty check. And I really like this because it leads to him making a big mistake. He does throw another check at you, but then you can tell that pressure really got to him. He wasn't sure what to do from here, and he tried to move his king out, and whew, that's tough because you get a very nice check here. You actually have mate in 7 at this point, and there is no way I would be able to calculate this in game. but I did do it. I did analyze this position, so we might as well look at what checkmate in 7 looks like. So you'd be applying the check with the knight. He would take back, and this almost looks like checkmate actually, except for this queen that has to come in. You actually get the queen, then he'll take, you'll take, he goes down, and this is where I think maybe you could calculate up to this point, which is pretty good. It's still very, very nice for you. But this next move I don't think is very intuitive, but basically you have to check him again and bring him up to the top rank, and then you push your rook over to E1, and you have unstoppable mate here. So there's nothing he can do, and you're just going to get checkmate from it. Now, I don't think I would have calculated that in game, and I actually think I would have done exactly what you did, which is take the free rook that's sitting there. And you're up by 21. You got 14 minutes. You take the free rook. I think that is perfectly fine. And yes, he stops the check. I like you go for the check. You're still being aggressive. You're going for the queen here. And then, yes, this move you actually, he blocked it, and then you saw that you could get, maybe you thought this was checkmate, but maybe you just thought, okay, he's going to lose his queen from this, which is great. He lost his queen. There was one better move from here that you could have done, which would have saved this rook, actually, and that's a check here, because this knight is defending the h8 square. Yes, he will take your knight there, but then you have that check interrupted his move, and now you get to take the queen for free. Well, not for free, you lose a knight, but better than losing a rook, but very small in the grand scheme of things. You got his queen, and that's very important, and you're still up 10. So yeah, I like what you're doing. You're putting pressure. I like it. This one, yeah, I think this one you thought a long time on. So it was almost 3 minutes you thought about this move. And maybe after the game, if you analyzed it, you kind of were like, dang, the move was right in front of me. And really just moving the rook over is a check, and he has to block with the bishop, and then it's an easy pawn upward where you're going to take this rook you're going to take this bishop because of this pin, and that would basically spell the end of the game. Instead, yeah, rough move. I think you probably thought he may take with the bishop, and then maybe you'd pin him. But yeah, he was able to take with the knight, and he's still blocking your checkmate abilities here. But yeah, you kick him out, then you get the check in, and your pawn's here. So you got there in the end. You did get there in the end. He takes a pawn, and then yeah, I think time scramble here. 304. You're checking him. We got mate in 7. So this is not straightforward. It's not a straightforward checkmate here in any sense of the way. So I like what you're doing here. You've been thinking, you thought for about 20 seconds, another 20 seconds, and then I can tell you have 220. You don't see a clear checkmate. It's a time scramble. I'm going to start eating pawns. And I think I would have thought the exact same and started trying to move your pawns up the board. And I can tell it's a time scramble because, you didn't see the hanging rook there. You're more just like moving out of the way. You're not taking the rook. You got 1 minute and 13 seconds left. So high stress situation. And I think at this point you're just kind of doing some quick movements. And I'm actually fearful for you in this moment here. And here I like you just sacrifice the queen, and you're saying, okay, I'm getting rid of his rook, and I'm moving my pieces up the board, and you have them on the ropes right here. I was very afraid of a stalemate at this point. This move right here is so dangerous, but you do the right thing. That move to G3 it's a tough move because he doesn't have anywhere to go really, right? So he's got to move a pawn, and then you see checkmate with from 3 seconds to 1.1 seconds left. So you get the checkmate in. Beautiful thing. I love the time scramble, quick thinking, and you ended it strong. What a game. exciting match, first subscriber match, super solid. Thank you for submitting it. You can check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/yobiebs. All right, catch you later.